How y'all feel about all this woke shit that's going on? Let's get into that.
Okay. There's the lid.
Let's crack the lid open.
The lid? Okay, let's crack the lid. It depends on what woke movement it is.
I feel like, okay, let's define what's woke.
Woke just means to be conscious and be aware.
Does it now? That was the definition at first.
Definition.
I feel y'all know who Snow the product is.
I know who it is.
She coined that word at first, like years ago. That was her shit, and then people took it and turned it into like what you just said, and now I feel like it represents. I feel like it represents, because it's like wokeness and then it's like kind of conservatism and stuff.
Yeah.
And like wokeness to me represents like how you feel over the fact of the matter. You know what I'm saying? How people feel and taking care of the little person over straight facts. And conservatism is like fact-based, tried and true, traditional shit. You know what I'm saying? That's how I perceive it. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
Well,
how y'all feel?
It's a good way to break it down. But when you speak of the woke movement, and originally speaking, the woke movement has always been a group of people in different generations in any country, anywhere in the world, where there was a force trying to keep people dumb, deaf, and blind, and they became aware of the information and chose to spread it. That is the woke movement. Now, it's been twisted and changed around to several different things. Right. But being woke means, originally speaking, it's you were asleep in a sleep state. Right. And you were giving the knowledge of something that made you aware.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
Now, the thing is, there's a lot of woke people. However, some people are woke and they're not doing anything while they're awake. They're just looking around. Okay. And that's where the woke thing kind of gets, I think, kind of messed up. It's because it's a lot of woke people. They're just not doing nothing while they're up. Right. So it's like, what's the purpose of being up if you're not making no effort? Most people wake up and they don't spread the knowledge. They don't put anything to play. They're not building with anybody. Usually they just become aware of it and they don't activate it. And that's the reason why the woke thing.
You feel like they just like it's like a complaining thing without action or something like that?
I wouldn't say complaining, because it's still awareness. So some people hear and don't hear, see and don't see. Okay. So I just think a lot of people become aware of a lot of information in this time. Just because of the internet, so many people are talking. It's so easy. So many opinions and ideas out there. Yeah, and in 2023, you pretty much can stumble upon almost everything you need to stumble upon. Yeah, you don't really have to soul search as hard as you did at first.
Yeah, so much confirmation bias out there. Whatever your agenda or ideas are, you can find a video or something.
Yeah, so
confirming it and like.
So now being aware is trendy. Everybody's full of information, so they can talk in the comments on Facebook and Instagram, and so much they're learning, but they're really not doing anything. Like the information is not being applied. So now all we have is a woke movement. That's it.
But what's up with all this canceling just because people, like, it's billions of people on the planet, right?
Now that's the woke, that's the new age, that's some other shit. Like that's not the woke movement. That's something.
Because y'all know about NEYO, right?
Yeah, like the Matrix.
No.
Oh, the singer.
The singer, NEYO.
Okay, yeah.
He was about to go in a hole.
Yeah, we was about to go really down the rabbit hole on that one.
We was talking woke. We hit the water, red pill, blue pill.
But did y'all see his interview on Vlad TV?
I didn't, but I know he apologized for something.
You saw it?
I saw it.
Y'all want to watch the clip to like refresh?
Yeah, just so I can fully understand. I seen his apology, but I never knew what it was for.
I think I got it in here.
Exactly. I just personally come from an era where a man was a man and a woman was a woman, and it wasn't but two genders, and that's just how I rocked. Me now, too. You could identify as a goldfish if you feel like.
Right.
I don't care. That ain't my business. It becomes my business when you try to make me play the game with you. I'm not finna call you a goldfish, but you want to be a goldfish, you go be a goldfish. It's all
Amen.
good. I mean, it's just, we live in a weird time, man. We do. We live in a time where a person will have a mental breakdown in front of their camera.
Right.
Wait, let me wipe balance.
I seen that TikTok you talking
I feel
about.
like parents have almost forgotten what the role of a parent is.
Amen.
It's like, okay,
Lost control.
If your little boy comes to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl," and you just let him rock with that, you just let.
Right.
He's 5.
Right. And where did he get that from?
If you let this 5-year-old boy decide to eat candy all day, he's gonna do that.
Exactly.
Like when
My son would definitely eat candy all day if I let him do it.
See,
so,
and I
let's get into it.
I peep it says the woke, and that's like it's like a slap to the face. And the reason why I'm gonna say it, just
what's a slap to the face though?
The title that whatever that is, whoever's running with that and calling themselves the woke, for that to offend them, it has to be something that is not linked nowhere near to that movement. And the woke movement became a thing when Erykah Badu started running around the country yelling "Stay woke." And
Erykah Badu?
Erykah Badu. If you look up the Stay Woke movement, is linked to a bar she wrote, and then people got behind it, and "Stay Woke" became a quote. It wasn't this, but that's not the topic. But I just want to throw that out there. For
I got
to
you.
Look up.
I kind of want to stick. I want to get into
it. We need to put that anchor there of what it really is. But I mean,
I kind of
I
was watching it. I understand why it may have offended a certain group or a certain community. I understand why it would be offensive to some people.
I wasn't offended,
and I personally was not offended. But I feel like he made some valid points though, because and speaking in the terms of the child. So if the child comes to you and they're like, they want to be a girl, I feel like parents aren't asking questions. They're just kind of going with whatever the child wants to do. It's like, oh, you want to be a girl? Okay, cool. That's awesome. Let's do that because you want to do that.
Right.
But you're not asking the questions. Why do you want to be a girl? Because then it'd be like, well, I want to be a girl because she got a toy and I didn't get to get one.
Right.
She got to get one. And it's like, that's why you want to be a girl? Okay. Backtrack, because you can get that same thing. It might not have been that situation, but just explain. They don't understand at that age. They just want to be something because they think that person is getting something they're not getting.
So you don't think at a certain age a child can know, like, that they're another
scientifically speaking, the brain isn't developed, so no.
Exactly.
Right.
No, we can say they are. But scientifically speaking, the human brain isn't developed yet.
Bro, scientifically speaking, a man's brain isn't developed to 43. But do you have your opinions? You're not 43.
43?
I'm saying
scientifically,
if we're
bringing science into this.
Right.
If we're bringing science into this, scientifically speaking, the average man isn't mentally fully developed until the age of 43.
But before, I would say before,
that's all
I don't even know if that's true. We can Google that shit.
But I'm saying on a child level,
maybe it's not fully developed.
Fully
but
developed.
You
at
can
a child level.
You got way more like cognitive ability to discern shit when you in your 20s than when you 5.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So for a child, at 4 years old, you develop consciousness. So at 5, I think a lot of us at 5 might know. Like, I knew I was destined for something good as a child.
Right.
And I feel like people can understand, hey, I think I'm supposed to be something. I'm supposed to be an artist. I'm supposed to be an actress, blah, blah, blah. So I think what it is.
I know you're going, but stop. But where would that even come from? Is that coming from an outside? Yeah, from an inspiration, from an outside influence,
so
or would you?
It's not just one stream. It's not just I feel this, so therefore this. It's sometimes you can just wake up one day, or you can just always feel the music inside of you. You can feel
without the influence, with zero influence. If you was born in a white room with no stimuli, you would come out that room and say, "I'm gonna be like."
Well, they
Cardi B one day?
They wouldn't know anything, but they can knock on the walls and hum and no. Like they can still. I just feel like what it is with the kids. I think that he's simplifying it. A child is not just saying, "I want to be a girl," and then just doing it. I feel like a lot of the children are going through. Oh, girl, I can't even go.
Go ahead.
I can't even do it. I just feel like everyone needs. They're just simplifying the process, and people should kind of just keep their opinions to themselves for certain things.
But why?
When I look at it though, really, I think the main thing is not that what he said is right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's getting to the point.
The fact that he can't say it.
Whether it's right or wrong doesn't matter. It's whether someone got offended, and that's what's crazy to me. It's really they've created an invisible way to actually take freedom of speech. If your survival depends on you having a
certain narrative being pushed.
Seriously, and the thing I think it's not about who's right. Because people, whatever you do with floats your boat.
Exactly.
But as a natural order, a spider teaches spiders to be spiders. Ducks walk like ducks. At the end of the day, as parents, you're supposed to recreate what you are on the earth. And if what you are is a certain way, I feel everybody should have the God-given
You don't
right
agree with that?
to duplicate themselves in their family tree.
Your child is not like an extension of you. Your child is your own. It's its own entity of a person.
True.
I'm not
True.
going to
Two
have a
things can be
child
true
and
at one
like,
time.
Oh,
though.
this is my twin, so now you have to do this. Because I think for me, my mom wanted me to be a nurse and do all the medical stuff, and I wanted to sing. So
Okay.
She just because this is what she wanted me to do doesn't mean that I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. I just feel like people need to understand your child is not an extension of you. You don't rule that child. Personally, I feel like that the child has its own minds, has its own collective thoughts, has its own consciousness. Like, I just feel like that you just shouldn't do that as a parent.
I agree and disagree.
Yeah.
I agree that
it could be a good medium.
I agree that a child is an extension of you, but I also believe that you shouldn't push something on a child that they may not want to do. The job as parents is to guide your children to whatever greatness that their purpose or whatever it is that they're meant
that
for.
you perceive
and
as
if
great.
you've ever not even what we perceive as great.
Because there's some people. Go ahead.
It's not even what I perceive as great. It's just once I realize something that my child is passionate about, I'm going to instill whatever it is that they're passionate about into them. So it's like if they're passionate, if they come to me, because children switch up stuff all the time. I wanted to be a vet when I was little. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to be this. I wanted to be so many different things. But when I decided I wanted to do something, my mom would ask me, well, why do you want to do that? What makes you feel that that's something that you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I would tell her, and we would have a conversation. And then if it was something that, after our conversation,
there's a approving
not
part.
Not even an approving part. If there was something that I really wanted to do and I was really passionate about it, and after we had the conversation, I still wanted to do it, whether she approved of it or not, if she had disagreed with it, and I still wanted to do it because of something that I felt like I wanted to do, she'd be like, okay, well, let's try it out. Because at the end of the day, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something that you see in it that could be great for you. And then she would go those lengths to do something for me. And then once I go into whatever it is I want to do, like just so I can specify one thing, let's just say it was tennis. If I wanted to play tennis and then she's like, well, I don't know, you're not really athletic, or you don't really run like that, you don't like the da-da-da. And I'm like, but I still want to do it. I want to swing the racket. I think that's going to be fun. She'll be like, okay, we'll try it. And she'll take me to a tennis practice. She'll take me there to learn stuff and figure out how I want to do. And then by the end of it, I'm going to be like, heck no, I'm tired. I don't want to do this. And then I find out something else that I want to do. But I feel like at age, and it's not even about gender. That's a whole different topic. I'm just talking about as growing up, wanting to do specific things. But
yeah.
I'm just saying, I feel like you should always allow your child to try something, because even if it's not for you and you think it's not for them, let them decide if that's something that they want to practice and keep doing. Because at the end of the day, we can instill our values in our children, because that's all we know.
Right.
So it's like we can instill our values and whatever we feel in our children. And then if they end up getting older and outside influencers come in, if they see something that makes more sense to them as they age, then I don't have the right to force them to feel how I feel if they have different values.
But that's
but at least they have the foundation.
That's why I said That's why I said personally.
And
then there's a lot of parents that's doing that. That's instilling their whatever values that they perceive are the good values.
The parents. Do you have children?
No.
Okay, I'm glad we established that. But parents, not to slight you or nothing like that, but it's a whole different world when you do have kids. It is a parent's duty to there's a such thing as like a legacy. You know what I'm saying? Let me finish. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a certain thing as like my son. Like, I'm a junior. I'm not exactly like my father, but it's a lot of him in me, and I'm grateful for that. You know what I'm saying? Because he raised me a certain way. He introduced me to a certain set of morals and like religion and stuff like that. But I live a totally different lifestyle than him now. But like, I look exactly like my father. My son looks exactly like me. Like, it's like having a child and raising them up as you would want them to be as adults is a real thing, and it's an important thing. Like, why even have a child if you don't want to send them into the world as a better version of yourself? You don't have to impose that on them, but you can set you should want to live up to a certain example for your child so they go out into the world as a good person. Let me finish. And it's not being a dictator and trying to make them a certain way, but it's nothing wrong with a parent having a certain idea of how they want their child to conduct themselves and beliefs that you would hope that they share with you as their caretaker and the person that is like literally, especially when they kids saving their life like, you don't do everything that entails being a parent without having expectations of your children. You know what I'm saying?
Right. So what I wanted to say, because I know you said that I didn't have children and everything else. I choose not to have children for right now.
Okay.
One, because I want to be financially stable before I have my children. A lot of people are having kids and they still in the hood having kids.
True that.
And then they're gonna say, oh well, I just have a kid, so this is my legacy. No, you just had a kid in the hood that's about to go and shoot up something, and then what? They're gonna die in the street. So that's
another scenario.
That could be an extreme, but I do want to say I choose not to have kids right now because I want to be financially free before I have kids. One, and two, I go to therapy so I can be better and heal my traumas for my own child traumas before I have my child.
Okay.
A lot of people are having kids and they have all these traumas and they're distilling all these traumas into their children. So I just want to let you know that that's the reason. It's not because like I'm not bashing parents or whatever. I just feel like I'm the oldest child of my mom. I've taken care of my sisters and everything else. So whenever I decide to have a child, it's going to be when you never can, like, it's never going to be like, okay, now I'm ready.
It's never the perfect time.
But I just feel like a lot of people need to address a lot of their childhood traumas before having children.
Well, the thing about that is everybody out here fucking. And so people getting pregnant and shit.
Can I say
and what?
Can I speak
Go ahead.
First of all, I found it. It says, hold on, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go into my point.
Go ahead.
In general, men and women cannot reach full maturity until their brains are fully developed at around age 25. However, some studies have shown men do not fully mature until age 43 and that women reach maturity at age 32. That is Google.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to throw that out there. So we're talking about this and kids not having consciousness and all this stuff.
Right.
But that's neither here nor there. One, I feel like this topic is stupid. I feel like, why do I care about how other people raise their children? One,
okay,
I
can.
That's
I can.
one. Hold on.
I just want to remember that for one.
That's one. Like, who are we to tell parents how to raise their child or what to accept from their child or whether or not they want their child to live the life that they want to or choose to live? Like, who am I to tell some other mother, no, don't let your son transition or don't let your daughter, like, why is this even a topic? Like, why do I care? Like, why does anybody care? I don't know. I'm gonna comment to that. I'm gonna let you finish. But I stay out the way and I mind my business.
But that's the thing. People who do that don't stay out the way and mind their business. Exactly. They promote it. So you have to speak on it so it's not.
You don't have to speak on it.
Some people do. Some people should.
Let me finish talking, bro. Let me finish talking.
Okay.
You don't have to speak on it. If they want to push that, I'm going to ignore it. It does not affect me and my household.
You gonna ignore it.
It don't affect me and
but
my
more
household.
impressionable people gonna emulate it when it ain't. And that's.
It goes back to parenting. It goes back to parenting, bro. I don't care if I have a child and their friend Johnny want to be Johanna one day and they come home and say, hey, mommy, Johnny's becoming Johanna. I want to be Johanna too. No, little motherfucker. We don't do that in my house. That's not how we rock over here.
Right.
Like, that's all it is. Like, why do we care what Susan is doing with Johnny/Johanna at her house? Like, I just feel like we need to establish a solid foundation as a family unit. That family unit thing, everything goes back to the family unit. And I hear this topic talked about a lot. And everyone says the white people pushing the agenda, but the only people I see talking about it is black podcasts. And I want to know how many of these black men that's pushing this topic on the podcast are family men. How many of them are in home with the children that they had?
I'm a family man.
If you're a black man and you don't have all your children in your house, don't be talking about Samantha allowing little Johnny to become Johanna. That's none of your business because you ain't even got all your kids in your house. Get your family matters in order before you worry about what Susan or Samantha, whatever I named the little white lady. Don't worry about what she's doing with Johnny/Johanna.
Okay.
Because you're not even man enough. You're not even man enough to manage your whole entire household.
Right.
Like, I feel like the black community, we just worry about the wrong things at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I'm LGBT and whatever the rest of the rainbow, the rest of the alphabet they gave us, I don't even know what half of them letters mean. I don't know what anything after T means. I'll be the first to say it. Y'all don't say I'm ignorant. But like I tell her all the time, I'm old school gay. I was gay before it was cool.
Okay,
like,
okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
before it was a fad, right?
Before it was a fad. I was gay before it was cool. Yeah.
That I can respect.
I told you that. I've been gay since the 90s. Like,
okay.
I'm old school gay, baby. So, like, I don't know what everybody got going on. But I come from that time, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where we couldn't allow people to affect us. We had to be strong because, one, we had no role models.
Right.
When I was gay, all we had was T.S. Madison. And I only knew T.S. Madison because I'm from Florida. And this was before T.S. Madison had the platform.
I don't even know who that is now.
You know who that is.
You know, everybody knows
Madison?
T.S. Everybody,
you know who that is.
She was on Beyonce's last album, T.S. Madison. Everybody know T.S. Madison.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I know the face or something like that.
Yeah, she has a podcast too, doesn't she?
Yeah.
I probably know her.
Yeah.
When we take a
everybody know
break,
T.S. Madison. Yeah, but yeah, no. All I'm saying is I feel like we're focused on the wrong thing. I don't care what another family doing. All I care about is me and my household and my values and my morals and putting my children out into society. I don't think as black community, a lot of us ain't got our households in order financially, structurally, or all our kids in our house. So I don't think we're in the position to even have this conversation, and that's my stance on the whole thing.
Okay.
And that's why I said it's it's like for me personally.
I had to.
I don't like I don't like confrontation to begin with. Like I'm just from the first point that Neil made in the video.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be called something, whether I agree with it or not, I'm gonna call you that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to be referred to as he, she, him, her,
it doesn't hurt me.
It doesn't hurt me to call you whatever.
So if I want you to call me magnificent,
I'm
gonna
call
me
that
every time you address me?
What's up, Mag?
Facts.
I don't like that. That's offensive. You gotta say the whole word every time.
A lot of black folks do that too. Don't call me this. My name is Vanetta. Don't call me Netta or V. My name's Vanetta.
And that's what I was gonna go into. It's like even with nicknames. It's like
that's a nick. That's okay. That was a bad example because a nickname is not a pronoun.
What it is I feel it's not a two-way flow on the stream.
It's a demand.
It's a and that's what it is.
And if you don't comply, you're a piece of shit.
And that's what it comes down to. On one side, you have one person that could be saying, "Hey, all right, it's cool. It is what it is. Do you?"
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, one person is saying, "No, this has to go this way or else I'm offended."
Yes.
And I'm offended until you buckle or else you're destroyed to the point where you can't survive on
your
the
life.
planet until you buckle. The ones who were bullied have now become the bullies.
How does that affect the average person, bro? How does that affect the average person?
You can lose your job.
No. The average person does not have the platform to really be affected by those people making those kinds of threats.
Everybody has a platform these days. What you talking about? Everybody got a TikTok.
I
Countless people done lost their jobs from making TikTok videos to their 15 followers. They got 1 million. That one video got 1 million views. And they lost their nursing job because they said something against
years ago that wasn't an issue.
Against anything.
Against transgenderism, for example.
I have never seen or heard, this is news to me, I have never seen or heard people losing their job for speaking out against the LGBT.
I can show you some examples.
Right, elemental PZ.
Not so much. Nobody has a problem with the LGBT.
TQIA,
the LGB. Nobody has a problem with the LGB.
And we had that conversation. I told her that.
Yeah, it's LGB. Just the T and the rest of them.
Yeah, I think it's not really the topic of what I don't think it's a topic.
I get that energy from you.
I think it's getting grabbed up into I think it's being misconstrued. The topic is not what he's talking about. The topic is how he's getting treated because they're mad about the fact that he stated how he felt about it to the point where he had to come out and apologize.
He didn't have to apologize.
He could have stood on his shit.
But behind the scenes, he was probably losing a lot of opportunities and shit.
Kind of
they was about to debate him.
Those are the things you need to consider before you go on a public podcast and say
maybe
something.
He did consider it.
No, he didn't.
And then he weighed out the options.
He knew what he was doing. Maybe he did consider it and he was like, fuck that. Ain't nobody going to tell me how to think and what I can say. And he went on and said it. And then he said it. The shit happened and his publicist released that shit.
Stand on it.
And then he did stand on it. He came out and said this. You seen that?
I seen all the videos.
Okay.
Yeah, I seen everything.
I just want to play it for the people one time. You know what I'm saying? It's still a show.
But my thing is stand on it. Stand on it. Don't allow that to don't allow nobody to make you waver. Because if I say something,
I will never be okay with allowing a child to make a decision that detrimental to their life. I will never be okay with that. I don't care. I definitely plan to educate myself a little bit more on this matter. However, I doubt that there's any book anywhere or any opinion that somebody's gonna tell me that's gonna make me okay with letting a child make a decision like that. That's just period, point blank, and that's how I feel. If I get canceled for this, then you know what? Maybe this is a world where they don't need a NEYO no more, all right? And I got no problem with that. I'm a hustler, all right? I'll figure it out. I got kids to raise, and I'm going to do that regardless. So, with that being said, y'all have a good day.
My whole thing is, why does he care about what this kid is doing? I'm not concerned with little 5-year-old.
Really.
I mean, somebody asked him a question on the podcast, and he just voiced his opinion.
And it could have been a response, but it was blown out of proportion.
Thank you. I just want to say this thing. Everyone has freedom of speech.
Right.
They're not taking freedom of speech. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say.
Can you?
You can. No, you really can say whatever the fuck you want to say.
You can.
It's just when you say it, you need to weigh out the options and stand on it. He stood on it. At the end of the day, NEYO's gonna be completely fucking fine.
You think so?
What are you talking? Yes, he's.
You didn't see what happened to the baby?
That's him. NEYO has hands in different people in different artists' catalogs. Like he has Beyonce, he has a whole bunch of other people that he's written for. He's gonna be fine for the rest of his life.
He probably never work with Beyonce again after what he said.
He made Irreplaceable, so he's straight. Yeah, that's one of the highest songs. Like he's fine.
Yeah, but
he wants to put out his own opinion. That's on him. So no one's canceling freedom of speech. You need to you can say whatever the fuck you want to say, but you need to weigh out the options as a grown ass man with your undeveloped ass brain. Because everyone can have their own opinions, and that's great. Feel how you feel in the background, but once you go to the foreground and say what you got to say, stand on that shit. And whatever happens to you happens to you.
I think people ain't tripping off people
everything.
Standing on it. It's just people want the penalty for freedom of speech is not equal on all sides.
No.
The penalty for freedom of speech for NEYO is shame. He's a millionaire.
What I'm saying,
he's gonna be fine.
What I'm saying,
he's gonna lose some money though.
He is a writer.
What I'm saying is the world is going to a certain way where democracy has gotten so out of hand, where if majority of a number of people rules in any way, any form, any color, what's going on, if they are offended, it is a problem now.
And it's not just...
So politically, you don't have freedom of speech no more.
You do have freedom of speech.
You have freedom.
You have
of
the
speech.
freedom to say whatever the fuck you want to say. Can you handle the consequences? Is the question.
Yeah.
So it's about understanding the second and third.
But that
order effects
consequence
of
only hangs over a certain group.
But if
you can say what you want to say.
If there's a detrimental outcome for what you say, is that really freedom of speech?
You absolutely have the
Absolutely.
Right, and that's the thing. This generation has gotten so.
So what would make it not free? Going to jail?
And that's why I said
you're not dying. You're not getting threatened to put in jail for
You're
your
a
views.
millionaire. You're fine.
I ain't just talking about NEYO.
Wait, they are passing anti laws to where you can't say nothing against the LGBT community in certain countries and shit.
I've never seen.
Look at Canada. Look at Canada.
I'm talking about the United States of
think the
America.
world
Look at California.
I think the world has gotten to the point where the people who have been bullied are now the bullies.
Yes, that's where it's going.
That's the way and I'm not speaking on any specific group. I'm speaking because there's so many forms. What happened to Kanye? It's so many.
It's not just the LGBT community and shit. It's every
people have said something.
Yeah, it's every oppressed.
Do you believe? Okay, I got a question. So do you with
little
this,
people? Just it's so many.
Yeah. Do I believe what?
With that logic, do you believe that like white people can go out and go on their platforms and say fuck niggas? That and they do it all the time.
No,
do
white people.
No, but do they deserve? My question is, do they deserve to like how you said they can get fired from their jobs or whatever?
Right.
Do they deserve or that penalty? Do they deserve that because they're doing it to black people?
I feel.
Wait.
No, answer the question. Answer the question because by your logic, you're saying that.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm about to answer the question. That's what I was opening my mouth to do.
On me being black, a woman, or gay. I'm not gonna be offended.
But see, I'm the right person to ask that because I don't like me being black is not like on like I'm not like super black or some shit like that. I'm a human being, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm black, but it's not my whole identity and shit.
So can y'all answer the question?
Can you ask it one more time?
Okay, so we were just talking about how freedom of speech is getting taken away and that you can't say certain things to certain people because you'll get penalized, and we shouldn't penalize people for saying what they're saying about the trans community. So if you flip by your logic, if you flip it around, if white folks are going on their platform, if a white NEYO goes on his platform and says, well, fuck niggas, they should all die, or whatever the fuck he's gonna say, does he deserve the same penalty? I would think he deserves the same penalty.
He definitely deserves a penalty depending on like the case. You know what I'm saying? Listen, let me answer your question. So if a white guy or a super racist white dude, KKK member, goes on TikTok and he say like, fuck all niggas, I want to kill them all, burn them. You know what I'm saying? Of course, his intention is to be offensive.
Because y'all just talking in circles. I just want to hear the answer to the question.
I just answered the question. It was a yes or no.
No, it's not a yes or no.
You can't ask me. So I'm sorry.
You can't ask me a question like that and expect me to say yes or no.
Well, you can answer it. You're giving me a whole.
Because I'm you. You gave me a scenario and I'm answering the scenario with a scenario.
No, I mirrored what you just said.
There's a lot of gray area in what you said though. You can't just expect.
Racist?
No, like okay, if a white guy says the N-word at a concert and he's singing it back in a song, is that racist?
No, what she's asking you is, do you think that the penalties are fair?
My point is, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. If I say a man, if I say a man is a man and a woman is a woman, that's a fact. It's not a. It's not a slur.
Biologically.
It's not a slur. Nigga is a slur in the context that you use it like. It's not the same thing. I'm sorry. That was my point. It's not the same thing.
No, that's not
if
what
I
I'm
speak
saying.
a fact and somebody gets offended by it, it's not the same as somebody calling me a nigga.
That's not the same thing.
You're not answering the question.
I am.
NEYO didn't say a man, woman. He specifically mentioned a 5-year-old child wanting to transition.
He said another fact.
Okay, how is that a fact? That's not a
what
fact.
What 5-year-old knows what they want to be for the rest of their life?
That's not a fact. That's an opinion. That's all I'm saying.
I think it's a fact. That's why we have so many laws against kids making decisions for themselves.
That's not a fact. That's an opinion. That's an opinion.
If it's a law, it's more than an opinion.
It's not a law.
It's a law everywhere.
It's not a
5-year-olds
law.
can't make no decisions for themselves.
These
They can't get a tattoo. They can't drive a car. They can't drink alcohol.
Okay, let's talk about.
But they can get their penis cut off.
Yeah, in the transition community, in that transgender. Yes.
But that's ridiculous.
No, not at 5.
They can't get their penis
not
cut
at 5.
but they take hormones and things.
Suppressors.
I'm against that too.
Okay,
But that's also with the parents' consent, though, correct?
With the parents'
with the
consent.
They have to have
But
parental
if the
consent.
parents don't consent, they can take your kid
walk into
away
a
from you and
hospital.
shit.
They
I
can't
seen
walk in.
that
A
too.
5-year-old can't walk into a hospital and say, "Hey, cut my dick off," like, or "Hey, I want hormones to do that." A 5-year-old, that's what he's saying. He's saying they can't. It's illegal. The medical cannot perform or give him any medication without parental consent because of his age. That's all.
So it's more of a fact that what NEYO was saying than somebody calling me a nigga. That's all.
He was addressing the parents of the 5-year-old. That's what NEYO was addressing. So let's go back to the facts. I'm legal, so you gotta. I deal in facts.
Okay, go ahead.
I deal in like specifically.
I like to deal in facts
displayed.
too. Okay.
So he specifically addressed the parents of the child and the parents allowing the child to do such a thing. That is not illegal. That is not illegal for a parent to allow their child to transition if the child expresses the desire to transition.
But that's not the fact that we speaking to though.
But that's
we
what he
speaking to the
said.
fact that a child can't make that decision.
But that's not what
legally.
NEYO said. He didn't say the child make the decision. The child feels a certain way.
But the parents let the child make the
Exactly.
decision.
That's my whole point. That's our whole point. You never answered her question. Either one of y'all never answered her
I
question.
did.
by the
How
way.
did I do?
But
What was your answer?
He
That
said it's not the same.
Well,
it's not the same thing.
So if
How is
you're
it not the same thing though?
Because he was saying that
'Cause it's a
one's
fact.
a racial slur and one's a fact.
no,
But that's not the
But no,
fact.
that wasn't the.
But
no.
you brought up.
I know
but
how
you-
I wish she was
but-
saying though. Basically, she was saying.
No, y'all can't. I'm gonna tell you what I was saying, y'all.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you what I
Then
was
we
saying.
can move to another topic and shit.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, don't get heated. We just having we
No.
debating shit.
This happens. We
Don't
do this.
beat me
We
up
do
in
this
here.
every week.
Okay.
We hang out every week.
And by the way, I'm not a team. I'm Billy Primo. I'm signed to myself. I just want to go ahead and throw
Yeah.
that. That's been sitting on my spirit.
Okay. Go ahead.
I believe that. So
Got light in the mood.
the penalty of him having his opinion, everyone has an opinion,
Right.
And everyone's opinion may not be the majority, and that's okay. You can still have your own opinion, your own personal preference, whatever. So what I'm saying is that because he got penalized because of what he said, we can use that analogy and say the same exact thing for a white person who's an artist. Let's say he's a big executive that says something racial about black people and all his artists underneath him are black. So does he deserve to get penalized the same exact way?
Well, I actually think he should get penalized. Actually, that's walking into what I was actually saying when I meant by there's a group that
Still
does
comparing
not,
apples and oranges and
but
shit.
no.
okay.
Let me finish this. What I'm saying is there's a group that does not get penalized. There's a group that can actually come out and say whatever they want about how another group does and say it's wrong, and there is no penalty
Sounds
for
like
that.
a white.
Who's not getting penalized?
I'm just
What group are you
saying the way
talking
the
about?
world is going.
But what group are you referring to?
Any group.
Like
We could
what
say
we-
LGBTQ if we want to link it to a specific one, but
I think
what I'm
specifically
saying is-
trans people and shit.
I don't want to say specific
please
because I
leave
think the
L's and
whole
B's out of
world, I think the whole world has gotten sensitive to where if you can get enough momentum behind something that's sensitive now,
Yeah.
the world is gonna say don't do
And
that.
it's gonna turn in on itself because before you know it, we already reached the point where like everybody offended for every goddamn thing. You can't even breathe without somebody being offended by it. Look at Lizzo. Lizzo got her own dancers coming out talking about she was fat shaming them.
But my thing
That's
is,
like some
you
upside
can't- my
down
thing
world
is you
shit.
That was a
gotta-
lot more than fashion.
And let's not pretend, Tommy and Artillery specifically, that we ain't behind the scenes in the music industry, that we ain't been doing this for a while and we know what's really going on. So I don't even think you can even bring Lizzo into this right now because we already know what's really going on.
Yeah.
You gotta elaborate. I know.
I'm not gonna elaborate. I got too many ties to the industry to elaborate on anything. I mind my business.
I think
Okay.
it's time for a new topic.
Yeah, let's go. Let's move.
Shout out to the trans community. I love y'all.
Here we go.
Thanks for watching this clip of the Quote Goats podcast. I truly hope you enjoyed yourself and maybe even learned something new. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you never miss a clip, short, or full episode of the show. See you guys next time. Peace.